Oh, hello guys. This is the JAMA Insurance Project. We're SISAT team number 42. I'm Anshika Kanelwal. This is Rizwan. This is Arna. Our team mentor is Pratik Kamble. Our client name is Ram Madhuri. Okay, so about the company, JAMA Advisory is a product of Simply Grow Technologies Private Limited. Simply Grow Technologies and JAMA are committed to helping people make better financial decisions. They have different tools, calculators of tax and retirement calculators and goal calculators. And our product, the insurance calculator, once it's integrated inside that project, we believe will provide a very comprehensive one-stop solution to the financial problems that people have generally.
Yeah. So the goals of our project can be fragmented into three parts. The first being we take users' policies and store them. And in the second part, we see his goals, his needs, his future plans, his expenses. We see all these things and calculate the amount of insurance he will need. And in the third part, we offer him the appropriate policies, the appropriate insurance policies that the user will need. So the problem statement was given to us was that we have to create an app that estimates the amount of insurance the user needs, and that app provides the user with appropriate insurance policies according to his needs.
Yeah, so the web app which we are building will help the user to know how much insurance they need in accordance with their goals, considering their assets and liabilities both. This app is a logical and one-step solution to all the insurance you need because it is more reliable and better than those third-party policies which guarantee that they'll triple your money in about a month. This is more logical and more secure.
Flow. So the flow of an application basically means how a user navigates through an app, how he goes from one step to another, generally. So the first step of our flow is to add and show users current insurances, which, as the name suggests, a user can add insurances and show them, and of course edit them, sort of. And the second flow, after the second step after that, would be to calculate the insurance required by the user by, as Arnav and Rizwan previously said, using the goals and assets and liabilities of the users that have been provided by the client. The third step after that would be to offer appropriate insurance policies to the user using the calculated insurance that we had in the previous step. The fourth step after that would be to redirect the user to a form with some pre-populated details to fill out some basic details and connect that form to a payment URL provided by some insurance companies. The fifth and the last step would be to judge if the payment was successful or not. If it was successful, then add that insurance policy to the current insurance policies of the user. If it's not, then well, obviously not.
So now we'll describe the technicalities and functionalities of the product.
Okay, project milestones. So this chart that we've made basically shows till week. So we're right now at week 10, week 9 actually. We just started week 9. So it shows how we plan, what we plan to achieve in what week. Okay, I'm just going to go through it one by one. Week 2, somewhere along the week 2, we were just doing a feasibility study. We were reading upon the tech involved, like Django and some materialized CSS, and we were also trying to figure out exactly what the app did because, well, we're not really people in this business. We don't really know much about this. Talking to the client, trying to get that figured out. Week 3 and most of week 4 was spent in gathering requirements, getting everything down to the point where we actually had our models down and stuff. So that coding it up would be much more easier and would be much more clearer. We can avoid mistakes later on. So basically, as good the requirements gathering, the better it is towards the end, right? Beginning of week 5 and even through halfway week 6, we had a server hosted. We had a basic user login, user sign up, and we had created our own database. Database was compatible with the client's database, as in migration would be much more easier. Then beginning of week 7, even towards the end, we were working on an ad policy feature, which is one of our main features. Also, we created towards middle of 7th and 8th week a view and edit policy feature, in which you can view all the policies that the user has and edit them, sort of. Week 9, where we're at right now, we're creating the UI of add and view policy, basically the pages that we have till now, using Materialize CSS, which is a new framework for all of us, so it's taking a bit of a time. And we're also actually making the insurance calculator. So the insurance calculator basically works on an API. The API calls a formula that is given to us by the client. So it gives the basically calculated insurance. For future plans, we plan to make a buy insurance form, and the storing part of success or not success in week 12 and week 11 and 12. And in week 13 and 14, we plan to do the testing and integration, which I believe are one of the most, two of the most important parts of the thing. So, how much?
So now we'll describe the functionalities of our project we have achieved so far.
So to host a web app, you need a server. So in our server, we have just implemented a basic login sign up and authentication.
Right. So we also created a database to like help store relevant information on users and user accounts and the insurance schemes that users have and the relevant insurance companies. So we actually designed this very carefully. Talked to the client a lot. Requirements were really helpful in this because we didn't want any migration changes towards the end. And yeah, that's project. Also, adding policies. So this is one of the key features that we have in our app. A user is able to add current policies. And these policies, which are stored in the database, will later be used to calculate the current amount of insurance that a user has. So two basic ways a policy can be added. One, through a form in which a user inputs the policies, and second, through the Django backend. And of course, validation is done for all inputs.
Yeah, so we have now a second screen where user can view all his policies. In this screen, we provide user with certain features. Features like if he wants to discontinue a policy, he can mark his policy as discontinued, and it will be displayed on this screen. And if an advisor is to suggest the user to discontinue certain policy, he can also show it up on this screen. Also, he can suggest an end date for the policy.
So now we'll see what problems we faced while working through the project here. So the main issue was the lack of knowledge in the finance field and learning a new framework, Django. Django we overcame easily because there were very good tutorials online, but the learning of how finance and business goes and implementing that in the database gave us a hard time here, but we have overcome that point and lot ahead of what was that point was.
What's next? So now we're going to talk about what the future of this product is, because this is just R1, like there's still R2 left. Right. So the next steps that we hope to complete by R2 are to provide the user with the current calculated insurance and offer them appropriate policies from the companies that our client's company has partnered up with. We believe that this product provides logical solutions instead of incentivizing and sort of preying on people's, happy thoughts in a way. It actually offers insurance according to what they need, according to their goals, expenses, and liabilities. And we also believe that once this product is integrated with our client's existing website, it will provide a very wholesome and all-in-one solution to financial planning, financial advice that a user needs, and it can also serve as advisors giving advice on insurance. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the demo of the insurance calculator that we're working on. This is to be integrated inside the JAMA Technologies app that our client has. Let's start by logging in. So I've already taken the liberty of creating a user. So we're just going to log in. This is a basic login. We have a basic login and a sign up provided by Django. Let's start by viewing the policies. As you can see, this table is empty right now because this user doesn't have any policies right now. Now these three terms are really important. Net sum current assured to continue is basically the sum of the insurance that the customer has right now. And it's zero because the customer doesn't have any insurance right now. So hence the amount that you'll get by the end of those insurances is zero. Sum required according to goals is the amount of insurance that the customer needs to fulfill the financial goals and targets that they have. So like it takes into account expenses, liabilities like loans, goals like education, children's education. Now this is calculated by our client's existing app. It has a goal calculator. So we get this value through the client. Required sum is the simple difference of the currently assured sum of insurances and the insurance required to get goals. So this is basically the amount of insurance you still require to achieve your goals that you've set. All right, let's go back. Let's add a policy. So policy number, now every policy scheme has its own numbers. So let's give it a dummy number. So type of insurance, there are three types of insurance, term, whole life, and unit-linked insurance plan. Let's go with term for this one. Insurer name, now this is actually coming through a table in the backend. Right now we just have one company, so we go with ICICI. Sum assured is basically how much money you get at the end of the insurance, right? So let's go with 20,000 for this one. Start date is when the insurance started. Go with this. End date is when it will end. Let's go with this. Frequency of premium, we have three frequencies and options: monthly, annually, quarterly. Those are the most common ones. Let's go with quarterly in this one. Okay, we add the insurance. Now this should be added in this table, and it is. So as you can see, policy name, insurance company, policy time, sum assured, surrender value. Excuse me. Surrender value is important. So what it does basically is that through the backend, an advisor can choose to mark this as discontinued, not mark this, suggest an insurance to be discontinued, like this is not good for you, sort of. So if they do that, then they also have to mark suggested, and they also have to give surrender value, which is given only when they do this. Okay. Right. Now, as you can see, the net sum changed from 0 to 20,000 because the user gets 20,000 at the end of the insurance. The required sum is now lesser than it was before, 20,000 less than it was before. It's a simple difference. So the user requires less amount of insurance now to achieve his or her goals. As you can see, this is very logical. It's not actually, preying on somebody's dreams and hopes of sorts. All right. Let's add another policy. See how it goes. We go with some dummy policy. Insurance name. Sum assured, go for 3 lakh. That's 3,000. Let's go with this. Let's say it ends then. Let's go. Alright. So, as you can see, again, these fields have changed. We also have an edit option. So, edit this. Edit life insurance. So suppose I want to set this to monthly now. Edit this and right. It's sent to. Okay, yeah. We don't see it, right? It's not a part of the table. Okay, let's change something we can see. Set this to 7. Alright. And as we can see, this has changed. Alright, so that will be all. The next steps would be to take this value, the required sum value, and give a link to the user to connect him or her to a buy insurance form to buy insurance of this value. Right, and then basically redirect them to a company website like ICICI.